We are
Yeah,
live!
hello.
So, what does Victor think about Trump and American politics?
There's a lot of weird shit going on behind the scenes. I just don't know what it is.
Okay.
Well,
I thought things largely turned out sort of as people expected.
uh, okay, first of all, no one seriously believed Donald Trump would get this far. And for that matter, I have to say that, as a lot of commentators are saying, they're totally right. Donald Trump is going to be the Republican candidate. There's practically no stopping him at this point.
Nonsense. There's the firewall of Super Tuesday, and the Koch brothers have decided they're going to fully back Rubio. And Rubio had a last minute bump up in his supporters with people who thought about it at the last minute and decided that they would possibly vote for him.
Yeah, but a bunch of that bump up was caused by George W. Not George W. but Jeb Bush dropping out of the race, and it still is not enough. Trump is set to sweep through most of the Super Tuesday states, with the exception of Texas, which is going to Ted Cruz, and one other state will probably go to Rubio.
Yeah, mind you, those polls are a couple weeks old, and a lot can change in the American political system when there's this much news coverage focused on it.
That is still possible, but right now there are actual congressmen that are now endorsing Trump. Drudge Report is also saying that he's basically the candidate. They are starting to grip with the reality that Donald Trump is going to be the candidate.
Well, yes, odds on, and I have to say, he is most likely going to be the Republican candidate. Because at this point, I don't think they have enough time before Super Tuesday to really do anything which will really change things. And I don't even think Donald Trump, no matter how outrageous the comment or action he takes, could change things enough before March 1st.
Yeah, no. He's going to be the Republican candidate.
So all hail our leader, Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that either.
Well, I do have to admit the sudden and impressive surge of voters coming out for the GOP contests does indicate that Trump does have a chance against Hillary.
Yeah. Trump is getting a lot more voters in than was expected, especially in Nevada. The amount of people that came out to vote for him was shocking. There was rumors and that some of the polling stations actually ran out of ballots because so many people showed up. And also, there's the other point that the Hillary Clinton campaign, even though it's beating Bernie Sanders, is not going well. In fact, the court case regarding her emails, which I seriously didn't think would play much of an issue, is also not going well.
None of it looks like it's going to lead to a federal indictment before the end of this election,
Going to lead
or
to
even possibly ever.
an indictment, but actually, no, yesterday in the legal proceedings, um, the judge, Judge Sullivan, actually ruled against the Obama administration.
On what?
Basically that, basically he has basically ruled that, in favor of the watchdog group Judicial Watch, that they are going to have the right to look through the emails, and the administration has to arrange it. Otherwise, he is going to subpoena Hillary Clinton.
Okay.
Now, the judge has been the one that's been dealing with the case and been ruling to get the Clintons to show the emails because, well, it's the law. And it was actually expected that he would rule in the Obama administration's favor. And I should also mention that since Hillary Clinton is out campaigning, the Obama administration is acting as her defense.
Well, also it sets precedent for government records.
Yes. And he's basically made comments that the argument that the state has really done everything it can to get these records from Hillary Clinton is not his words, but bullshit. Because time and time again they've said that, and then it becomes apparent that that is not the case.
Yeah, continually lying to even a favorable judge is usually likely to get them pissed off.
Yeah, so now Judicial Watch is basically getting to go and take a look, and he has basically ruled that Hillary Clinton lost the right to decide what emails are fit for the archives that are not when she left the government. And that even if that was true, that basically it's up to the National Archives or the State Department while she's there to make that determination of what emails are and are not kept.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, so Judicial Watch is going to have access, and if they don't, the judge will issue a subpoena, and one way or another, it looks like these emails are going to be released.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, he'll have to subpoena her, and yeah, she definitely won't want that.
Yes.
But then again, they probably don't want the Judicial Watch reviewing her emails either.
No, they probably don't. Which is the thing. Clearly, there is something in these emails that is really damaging to the Hillary Clinton campaign and Hillary Clinton herself. Otherwise, there wouldn't be all this hoopla around it.
Oh, I don't know. Washington can generate a lot of hoopla around things which barely matter.
In a way, that's true, but still, the way they've been sticking around with the judge.
Yes, there is an indication that there is something potentially either actually illegal or just really embarrassing, which is still in the emails that they still have access to, as opposed to all the ones that potentially have disappeared into the ether, never to be seen again. All right. But I also have to point out that we were both somewhat wrong in our hopes and dreams that Kasich could actually become a real candidate.
Yeah, no, actually, I'm a little bit surprised he didn't.
Look, no charisma. He doesn't look good. He doesn't sound good. He sounds consistent, sane, and sensible, but that's not really a big political selling point.
Yes.
And mind you, he also has one big negative, which is potentially going to come up on him. He is
Lehman
strongly
Brothers, yes.
associated with the big banking and financial firms on Wall Street.
Mm-hmm. No doubt.
And also his performance there was really bad, and the poll numbers, admittedly, although as I said, they haven't really been updated. Well, many of them aren't that up to date. Aren't showing him with any great gains.
Yes.
In fact, if anything, he's sort of slipping. He had a bit of a bump up after New Hampshire, and then it flatlined, and now it's just going nowhere. I mean, I'd be happy to be surprised, but I think I have to go with And also, heck, he's even come out and made a public statement that maybe it's not his destiny to be president.
Possibly.
I'm paraphrasing there, but he said something like that. So I think he's giving up, and his numbers aren't going up.
Yeah. No,
Maybe if he does a really spectacular performance in Thursday's debate, maybe. But
yeah.
I think after Super Tuesday, he's going to drop out.
Yeah, no, I think a whole bunch of them are going to drop out. Rubio might stick in after Super Tuesday, but I think the establishment at this point is just looking for a deal with Donald Trump to figure out how things are going to work and make sure that an establishment person is the VP.
Yeah, but although I don't think I've stated it on our podcasts, I've stated I think they've already cut the deal.
Yes, you
a
have.
bunch of Republican, establishment stalwarts like Bob Dole came out and they didn't attack Trump. They didn't endorse Trump, but they didn't attack Trump. Instead, they attacked Cruz. So I think the Republican establishment is probably already behind the scenes cut its deal for who Trump's VP will be. Not that Trump necessarily will keep the deal. Because it's obviously they're not actually backing him, at least not yet. They still have hope for Rubio, and Rubio did do slightly better than was expected.
Yeah, he did a little bit better than was expected, but that was partly because people saw Rubio crashing and burning after the whole Robo-Rubio incident.
Yeah, I think that was a little overblown. The internet and the left-wing side of the media played that up a little bit more than I think it was worth.
Yeah, no, the fact is, it wasn't reflected in the polls, and the funny thing is, had they probably truly rallied behind Rubio, the result actually might have been different.
Well, I think they're probably going to give that a shot for Super Tuesday and possibly a few competitions beyond. But if Super Tuesday goes really bad for Rubio, I think if Rubio gets a good second place out of Super Tuesday, but that might be hard because Texas is a large amount of the delegates, and Texas is almost certainly going for Cruz. But if Rubio actually does well on Super Tuesday, I'm pretty sure he's going to carry on for a few more.
Yeah, he might carry on for a few more, but it's already solidifying in people's mind that Donald Trump is going to be the candidate. It's starting to solidify. Politico has basically said it. The Federalist has basically declared that they would rather have Hillary Clinton in charge than Donald Trump. Starting to solidify. I'd say Super Tuesday is his last. Well, really, this debate coming up is his last real chance.
Rubio does not need to win Super Tuesday. He needs to actually place in at least a couple. He needs to get at least win one state and place well in the rest of them.
Yeah.
And then he can continue on, and it's theoretically possible that the establishment can rally behind him, sanity can prevail, and so forth and so on, and he can turn things around.
It's possible.
Yeah, it's possible. I'll give it a good 20% shot.
Yeah, I don't think it's happening. Look, Nevada was the real test for Rubio and Cruz. If they can't really turn it around in Nevada, they're not going to turn it around.
Actually, the surprising thing was how well Trump has been doing amongst evangelical voters.
Yeah.
He actually, at least in Nevada, was beating Cruz amongst the evangelical vote.
Yeah.
And if he manages to decisively beat Cruz in Texas, even though all the polls are currently giving Cruz the lead, but once again, they're at least a week out of date, then, at that point, he's pretty much got it.
Yeah. And from there, he becomes a very good chance that he's going to be president of the United States.
Yeah, he doesn't even get a majority of Republicans currently. He's hovering at just under the 50% mark. Moderate voters, although a good number of them probably won't turn out for this election, are probably going to side with Hillary, and the entirety of the left wing and establishment Democrats are going to vote for Hillary, unless there's something incredibly awful which comes out embarrassing her, or some foreign policy crisis which makes her and the Obama administration look like idiots. No,
Well,
she's going to
there's
win.
the emails, but there's the other point that Hillary's just incredibly unlikable. And she keeps trying to appeal to the most radical of radical feminists with things like Madeleine Albright declaring that
Now, she did not endorse Madeleine Albright's statement. In fact, she specifically avoided doing that. And when she does endorse various feminist causes, she usually does it in low-profile articles and blog posts. You'll notice that in most of her town halls and public debates, she's very mainstream towards leaning to the right wing of Democratic politics.
All right, but still, her supporters and generally people on the left have gotten rather extreme, and comments like the choice between, as you pointed out before, do all lives matter or do Black lives matter, I think are going to come to haunt her.
Well, no, the Republicans are going to stop the Democrats on that for a decade to come. But that's not going to happen until they actually match off. And at that point, it's going to be Trump, the internationally renowned insane man, versus Hillary Clinton, the rather obnoxious but well-qualified former Secretary of State.
Mm-hmm.
And look, anybody who wants to vote safe is going to vote for Hillary. Yeah, a bunch of young people, new voters, and people who are just pissed off with the political correctness and bullshit of the American political system are going to come out for Trump. But I'm not sure there's enough enthusiasm there to just overwhelm everybody else who usually comes out to vote.
Yeah. We'll have to see. It's playing out a lot differently than anyone would have expected. But
well, one thing which could throw it all open is a third-party candidacy.
Yes, actually, it's looking more and more like Bloomberg really wants to run.
Well, we should find out pretty soon. He set March basically as his deadline.
Yeah, and he's doing his exploration, and there's a bunch of rumors that are unsubstantiated that he might have Kasich as his running mate.
So the all financial company team.
Yeah.
Bloomberg, his financial company, and Kasich and his financial connections. The Wall Street Party.
And the thing is, his gamble is completely dependent on the Hillary Clinton campaign being blown and Trump being the nominee for the Republicans. So if he really feels like there is something truly horrifically damaging in those emails that will destroy Hillary's campaign.
Well, yes, if he has some sort of inside information, although this may just be an attempt to pull the election in a particular direction, then yes, he actually has a shot. But the thing is, usually there's only one insurgent candidate which pulls all the oxygen in the room and gets all the enthusiasm. And right now, that's Trump.
Yes.
So I don't think the Wall Street Party will be able to win this. I mean, possibly if Hillary Clinton completely destroys her entire campaign somehow. But it would somewhat throw the election open. He would definitely draw some of the moderate vote away from running to Hillary.
Yeah.
And I don't think the sort of Wall Street vote is really going for Trump anyway.
Yeah. No, he definitely have, in addition to his personal fortune, a bunch of money backing him.
Yeah, but if there's one thing this election has shown, at least this nomination process has shown, is that money doesn't mean that much.
Yes, no, as I've said before, Bush has basically proven it with spending over $100 million and not being able to break 10%.
No, I mean, this actually election, despite everybody yelling about how money is interfering in politics, and it does, but is a huge thing, and this election shows it. This election actually shows the exact opposite. Donald Trump has come from nowhere to be a dominant factor in American politics by spending virtually no money whatsoever and just saying incredibly outrageous things. And the candidates who have spent the most money haven't gotten that much out of it.
Yes, and part of the reason things are taking people by surprise is really, this is definitely showing how much anger there really is right now in the population of the United States. And
well, look, the fact is, people have been being browbeat by the popular media about how awful, vaguely racist, misogynist they are, how the world is bad and it's partly their fault and they aren't doing the right things or doing everything nice or doing everything politically correct. And there's so many rules to political correctness and there's so many contrary things to political correctness. Look, it just pisses people off and they just get a sort of incoherent rage and they want to say outrageous things and just so they can say them, but they know that, you know, people will look at them and they'll be horrible, horrible people. And no, it just builds up until you get this sort of vaguely populist backlash.
Oh, yes. And there's the other point of that, the internet has come to really dominate politics. Trump is, in a way, the perfect internet candidate. He is basically crowned God Emperor by the 8chan poll boards.
The internet is a bit overblown in this. It's having more of an influence than it ever has, but no means a majority influence on this.
Yeah, right, it's not, but it's allowing people to run a much cheaper presidential campaign than you normally could. I mean, the part of the reason Trump has been able to get away with spending so little money is partly due to his celebrity status, but partly because he's been spreading through the internet so perfectly.
Well, even there, I'd say it's far more important that every news channel in the country, local news, national news, international news, have all been running Trump segments.
Yes.
Look, he's on every news program. He's even on every pretty much entertainment program. They are all talking about Trump. He is the name, the voice which is out there.
Yes.
So, I mean, the internet plays into that. But no, I mean, the vast majority of people still watch primarily television for now.
Mm-hmm.
And he's on television all the time. Pretty much if you have a full cable package, it's doubtful there's any hour of the day where you can't find at least one channel which is talking about Trump.
That's true. The only thing is that they're all talking about how terrible Donald Trump is.
Yes, but the people hate these people. They're tired of this sort of vague sort of bullying that they're not good enough. that they get out of the media, that you're not eating the right food, that you're not saying the right things, that you're not thinking the right thoughts. They don't like these people. Well, even if they do like these people, they sort of enjoy it when they screw up, and they enjoy it when they hate people, and they enjoy when people hate them.
Yes.
Look, he's the perfect candidate for just getting lots of basic meme attention. Everybody talks about him. Everybody has heard about him. Everybody has some feelings about him. A lot of those feelings are negative, which is why I don't think in the end he'll probably win in an actual national competition. But everybody knows who he is.
Yeah.
Everybody has a sort of vague idea who he is and what he stands for, although in concrete policy terms, not so much. So,
in national terms, though, I think he has a real shot at winning at this point, especially since Hillary Clinton's campaign sucks. Even if you take out the possible scandals and the rise of the regressive left, her campaign sucks. She's more impersonal than ever. She can't seem to connect with voters at all, even women voters. She seems pretty tone deaf, and her basic, while vague attempt at pushing policy has been a vague notion that she's going to keep things the same when everyone hates what we currently have.
Yeah, but she's safe. And the majority of voters vote for safe.
Yeah, maybe not during this election.
Maybe not. I mean, if the economy suddenly gets worse or something otherwise happens, and that's entirely possible because right now the U.S. is barely on the upswing and the rest of the world seems to be teetering on the edge of dropping again. But I think people right now, they mostly want safe. I'm sure it's large enough that, yeah, Trump can easily get a good 40% of the voters to come out and demand that things change, that they no longer are made to feel like horrible human beings for occasionally saying something incredibly stupid.
Oh, no. Like, if people wanted to play things safe, I'm not sure that Trump would have this kind of support. Cruz
he hasn't broken 50% of the Republicans.
Still, the other not safe candidate, Cruz, is basically second.
Cruz is only not safe for the Republican establishment. He's a standard evangelical Republican candidate.
Right. But
In
still,
fact, it's a bit more divisive than usual.
Bernie Sanders also has a large amount of support. And while I don't think he's going to win, he's also showing how not safe people want to play it this year.
Yes, but how many of Bernie Sanders voters are going to vote for Trump?
That is true. But I'm just saying, the mood in America is pointing towards, we really don't like how the things are currently going. Fuck it.
Yeah, Hillary Clinton's still winning.
Like, it's the same mood that was kind of in Alberta before we got the Notley government. The conventional political wisdom that even I was subscribing to, although I was very worried about having an election right near that close to tax time, because no one has ever been able to do well in an election that time, was the idea that the conventional wisdom was people would go to the conservatives because they are the safe choice, and they went to the least safe choice they could possibly go to.
Yeah, but that had the result of the conservatives being in charge for decade after decade after decade. And still, if you count up the votes, if you added the conservative vote to the Wild Rose vote, the conservative side still won.
Yes, they just didn't win the election.
Yes.
Look,
But in a two-party matchup, they still won.
so I wouldn't underestimate Donald Trump, and I see he has a good chance of winning unless Hillary Clinton is able to up her game.
I don't think she needs to up her game. I think unless she screws up badly or international affairs screws her up badly, it's hers.
But there's a lot of things that can go wrong in international affairs, and not a lot right that can go on right now.
But anyway, I think we have done the American election.
All right, we can end this.
All right. Yes. Signing off.